Chapter 37, Returning Hopeful to America by Justin Rosales. I came back to America filled with new energy. Even though I had not climbed Mount Blanc, we had plans for a far greater goal. I was going to try to break a world record with my mentor and spiritual brother, the Iceman. Classes began shortly after I returned from Spain, but I didn't care. My mind was more focused on becoming the Iceman. I'd begun to take my training to a new level. I woke up every morning before class and went for a run in a nearby park. And as I felt more comfortable, I tried running barefooted on the sidewalks, and I watched my steps carefully to avoid stepping on broken glass. For the first few runs, it was extremely painful. I could never run more than a few blocks at a time before my feet blistered up. Each day after my run, I would immediately shower to clean my cuts, and when I got out, I would put on socks to provide some comfort for my wounds. When I wasn't wearing socks to heal from running, I tried to remain in bare feet as much as possible. I did away with wearing shoes and resorted to only wearing my running sandals. The problem with running sandals is that they accumulate, honestly, a lot of sweat over time, making them pretty smelly, and Brooke wasn't a fan. So I decided to go give some plasma, save up a little bit of money, and invest in the Vibram 5-finger shoes that I had seen Dennis wearing in Europe. Within a couple of weeks, my KSO models arrived at my doorstep. By then, I had developed a few calluses on the bottom of my feet. Therefore, with and without the KSOs, I was able to run comfortably through the streets without feeling any pain. Although I did like the KSOs a bit more compared to running barefooted. Running in the Vibrams gave me the chance to focus on my running and breathing rather than constantly looking at the ground to avoid sharp objects. As the warmer days of summer faded away and fall set in, I redirected my focus toward organizing the world record attempts. I received an email from Wim asking me to submit a few applications into Guinness World Records to see if we could legitimize our world record attempts. After class one day, I spent a couple hours going through the application process. The two applications I submitted were for the fastest 5 and 10K barefoot run through the snow. With the applications submitted, I went back to focusing on my training. I started implementing cold exercises back into my daily routine, specifically exercises that trained my feet. These included foot immersions and ice buckets. And here you could actually refer to the Justin's Method section near the end of this book and also go back to some of the earlier exercises I explained. I performed these exercises several times a day. As the fall semester continued on, my workload increased. It began eating away at my time for training. Therefore, I decided to make a change. I began cutting back on the amount of hours I slept each night. I learned from cold water exercises that my body could handle anything that I threw at it, so I figured it'd be okay with a little bit of sleep deprivation. Now, I don't suggest that anyone else try this. It was just my way of coping with my situation at the time. I was persistent about pursuing further training while still making time to do my homework. For months, I survived off of only 2 hours of sleep. With all my extra time, I was able to finish all of my classroom assignments with a few weeks to spare before the semester ended, which is exactly what I needed. Soon after I had finished my assignments, I received an email from Guinness World Records stating that we'd be able to attempt both records as long as we provided adequate proof and adhered to their requirements. Now, assuming that I was running the 5K and Wim would be running the 10K, my time to beat was 30 minutes, while Wim's time to beat was 60 minutes. I was unsure of whether or not I could beat that time, but I knew I had to try. I began searching around for places that'd be interested in holding our world record attempts. I called local parks, colleges, and even my friends to see if they had properties that I could use, but everyone turned me down. No one would take our attempts seriously. The only people that supported us were a few other of my friends who were willing to do anything to see the event happen. They donated hundreds of dollars to try to help us organize the event, but when every place we spoke to turned us down, I returned all of the money to the donors and wrote each of them an appreciation message. Our options were extremely limited. It looked like our hopes of attempting the world record in the US were dying fast.